Hey everyone, today we are going to be talking about the Module 2 practice test word problems. So remember, in these word problems we are identifying the parts and the whole. We're going to do the parts and the percents are going to be the same. Parts need to add up to your whole and percents need to add up to 100. And then the whole should just be a single value in that last box. After I get all those values in, I'm going to put in my question mark. So how am I going to answer the question? What am I trying to find? Then I'm going to highlight what are the pieces that I'm going to use to put into my percent proportion. And then I am going to put the values into the percent proportion and then solve. So number 1 says, Mr. Keim watched 20% of the football games this weekend. If Mr. Keim watched for 80 minutes, how many total minutes were the football games on TV? So my whole is going to be total minutes because it's total minutes of football. And Mr. Keim watched some of it, and he did not watch some of it. The problem starts with Mr. Keim watched 20% of the football games this weekend. So I am going to put 20% in the percent box under watched, which means that he did not watch 80% of what was on this weekend because 20 plus 80 is 100. Then it says, if Mr. Keim watched for 80 minutes. So he watched 80 minutes of football. How many total minutes of football games were on TV? I'm looking for the total number of minutes. So the first thing I'm going to highlight is my question mark. So my question mark is under total minutes. And then in my first two boxes, I'm going to look at what do I have all of the information for? I have all of the information for watched because I'm missing the number of minutes that he did not watch. So now I'm going to set up my percent proportion. So percent over 100, 20 over 100 is equal to part over whole. So 100 times 80 is 8,000. And then 8,000 divided by 20 is going to be 400 minutes. Number 2 says, Mr. King loves taking science tests on the weekend. Due to the football games on TV, he could not focus and scored a 65%. He missed 7 questions. How many questions were on the test? So this problem is about a test that he took that had a certain number of questions on it. So my whole is going to be total questions. And then when you think about taking a test, you're thinking about, okay, did I get questions right or did I get questions wrong? So I'm going to say that my two parts are right and wrong. You could say correct and incorrect. You could say got and missed. As long as you're talking about how he achieved his score on the test. So you achieve your score on the test by getting questions right. So now I'm going to start putting my numbers in. So Mr. King loves taking science tests on the weekend. Due to the football games, he could not focus and he scored a 65%. When you score 65%, that means you got 65% of the questions right, which means you got 35% of the questions wrong because 65 plus 35 is 100. He missed 7 questions, which means he got 7 questions wrong. And I want to know how many questions were on the test. So I'm looking for the total again. So I'm going to highlight my question mark first, and then I'm going to look at my first 2 boxes, and I'm going to say, what do I have all of the information for? I have all of the information for the problems that he got wrong. So that's what I'm going to use to set up my percent proportion. So percent over 100 is equal to part over whole. 100 times 7 is 700. And then 700 divided by 35 is 20. So 20 questions. Number 3 says that a metal bar is made of silver and gold and weighs 9.25 ounces. If it contains 15.2% silver, how many ounces are silver? So I'm going to have the total metal as my whole, and then silver and gold as my 2 parts. So a metal bar that is made of silver and gold weighs 9.25 ounces. So all the parts together make up 9.25 ounces. It is 15.2% silver. So it is 84.8% gold. And I want to know how many ounces are silver. Now in this one, when I highlight my question mark, I highlight silver. So in the second box, I'm also going to highlight silver. And then I have to highlight my whole, because remember, you want one thing highlighted in each box. So now I can set up my percent proportion. So 15.2 over 100 is equal to, this time my part is the question mark, and 9.25 is the whole. So I'm doing 9.25 times 15.2. We get to use a calculator. Times 15.2. I got 140.6. And then I'm going to do 140.6 divided by 100. And I get 1.406 ounces of silver. Number 4 says Mrs. Check has 20 horses. Every morning she feeds 60% of them and her daughter feeds the rest. How many horses does her daughter feed every morning? So the whole is going to be the total horses. And then Mrs. Check feeds some of them and her daughter feeds some of them. And that's how we split these horses into 2 groups. Mrs. Check has 20 horses. So she has 20 total horses. Every morning she feeds 60% of them. And that means her daughter feeds 40%. And I want to know how many horses her daughter feeds every morning. So my question mark is going to be under her daughter. When I highlight my question mark, I am told which part I am supposed to use. So I'm using her daughter, which means in the second part, I'm going to highlight her daughter. And then I have to use the 20 total horses. So percent over 100, 40 over 100 is equal to, I don't know how many horses her daughter feeds, but I know she's got 20 horses. So 20 times 40 is 800. And 800 divided by 100 is going to be 8 horses. Number 5 says Mrs. Watson is an avid Michigan State fan, go green, and is a season ticket holder. Michigan State plays 8 home games each year, and Mrs. Watson attends 6 of those games every year. What percentage of the games does she not attend? So my whole is going to be total games. And those games are broken into games that I attended and did not attend. So Michigan State plays 8 home games. So we have tickets to 8 total games. And I attend 6 of those games every year, which means I do not attend 2 of them because 6 plus 2 is equal to 8. And then I want to know what percentage of the games I did not attend. When I highlight my question mark, I highlight not attended, so I'm going to highlight not attended, and then I'm going to use my total games. So my percent this time is my question mark. So percent over 100 is equal to part over whole. So 100 times 2 is 200. And 200 divided by 8 is going to be 25%. So I did not attend 25% of the games. Mrs. Shaw loves soccer and played in college. Her soccer team played a total of 80 games. She started in 72 of them. What percentage of the games did Mrs. Shaw start? So my whole is going to be total games. She started in some of them, and then she did not start in some of them. Her soccer team played a total of 80 games. She started in 72 of them, which means that she did not start in 8 of them because 72 plus 8 is 80. And I want to know what percent of the games she did start. So when I highlight, I'm going to highlight the games that she started and then the total games. So again, I do not know my percent, so question mark over 100 is equal to 72 over 80. So 100 times 72 is 7,200. And 7,200 divided by 80 is going to be 90%. Okay, so this is the end of the word problems practice test. Please let me know if you have any other questions.